What if everything you were taught about trust, loyalty, and being a good person was nothing but a convenient lie? Imagine this. You walk into a room and everyone is smiling at you. But half of them would gladly stab you in the back if it gave them an advantage. Welcome to reality, the one most people refuse to see. Machiavelli saw it 500 years ago. He wrote the kind of truths that get you hated, feared, or quietly admired, but never ignored. This isn't polite advice. It's dangerous knowledge, and I probably shouldn't be teaching you this, but here we are. Niccolo Machiavelli wasn't a saint, a priest, or a motivational coach. He was a political operator in Renaissance Italy, a brutal world of betrayals, assassinations, and power games that make today's office politics look like child's play. When he wrote The Prince, he wasn't telling rulers to be kind and fair. He was exposing the truth, that mercy can get you killed, loyalty is fragile, and power belongs to those willing to act ruthlessly when necessary. The book was so raw, so unsettling that it was banned. Why? Because it stripped away the comforting illusions people clung to. It told leaders and anyone willing to listen that appearances matter more than reality, and that morality is often just a mask for control. It was considered dangerous knowledge, the kind of truth society wasn't ready to face. That's why his name became an adjective. Machiavellian. Not nice, not friendly, but strategic, cunning, and uncomfortably honest about human nature. Machiavelli's genius wasn't in inventing cruelty or manipulation. It was in observing people without illusions. He noticed patterns most of us would rather ignore. First, people choose the easy path, not truth, not justice, the path of least resistance. Give them comfort and they'll trade away almost anything. Second, power isn't about being the nicest in the room. It's about calculation. The leader who waits for everyone's approval usually ends up powerless. The one who makes tough, even ruthless choices at the right time commands respect even from enemies. Machiavelli argued that fear, when carefully controlled, lasts longer than love. Love fades when it's inconvenient. Fear, it keeps people in line. Third, trust is a fragile currency. People promise loyalty, but they'll break it the moment it costs them. Machiavelli said it plainly. Humans are fickle, greedy, and self-interested. If you want to survive, you must plan for betrayal, not be shocked by it. This is why his writings hit so hard. He didn't dress it up with poetry or moral sermons. He told rulers, and by extension, us. If you want to see the world clearly, stop pretending people are better than they are. Strip away the mask, and you'll finally see what really moves people. Here's the strange part. Most people don't actually want the truth. They want reassurance. They want to be told the world is fair, that loyalty lasts forever, and that good intentions will always win. It's comforting. It keeps the chaos at bay. Machiavelli blew that illusion to pieces. He whispered the things we secretly know but don't admit, that people lie, cheat, and switch sides when it benefits them, that morals bend when survival is on the line. And once you hear it, you can't unhear it. That's why The Prince felt dangerous. It wasn't teaching rulers anything they hadn't seen before. It was saying the quiet part out loud. But that's also why his words attract us. We lean in, half horrified, half fascinated. It's like hearing someone confess your darkest suspicion, that beneath the polite smiles everyone is calculating. You're drawn in, not because you love it, but because you sense it might actually be true, and truth, once exposed, has a gravity of its own. Even when it unsettles you, you can't look away. Here's the catch. Once you start applying Machiavelli's playbook, you step onto dangerous ground. Yes, his tactics work. Ruthlessness can win wars. Calculated fear can hold empires together. A well-placed lie can keep power in your hands longer than honesty ever could. History is full of proof. Kings, CEOs, even modern politicians, those who smiled in public while pulling strings in private, often outlasted their kinder, more honest rivals. But the danger isn't just external, it's internal. The more you use these strategies, the more they use you. Fear can control people, but it can also isolate you. Lies can protect you, but they force you to build more lies to cover the first ones. Pretty soon, you don't rule the game rules you. Machiavelli himself warned about this. He didn't tell rulers to be cruel all the time. He said, "Be cruel only when necessary. Use fear carefully, or it will turn into hatred. Be cunning, but never reckless. In other words, power without restraint eventually burns its holder too." That's why the prince still feels radioactive. It tempts you with shortcuts to power, but punishes those who grab it carelessly. The lesson isn't be ruthless always, it's understand ruthlessness so you know when and when not to use it. Ignore that balance and you don't just risk losing your power. You risk losing yourself. So how do you use Machiavelli's insights without turning into a full-blown movie villain? Simple. You don't copy him word for word. You adapt the mindset. First rule, expect betrayal, not in a paranoid, trust no one ever way, but in a realistic way. Don't gamble your future on someone's promises unless you're prepared for them to break it. Hope for loyalty, but ensure yourself against disloyalty. Second, control appearances. People judge what they see, not what's true. That doesn't mean fake everything. It means be intentional. If you want to be respected, don't just be competent. Look competent. If you want to seem calm under pressure, practice being unshakable even when you're screaming on the inside. Third, choose your moments. Machiavelli never said be cruel all the time. He said when cruelty is necessary, do it quickly and don't hesitate. In today's terms, when you need to set a boundary, don't waffle. Be clear, firm, and decisive. People respect certainty, not endless negotiation. In short, play the game, but don't let the game consume you. Think of Machiavelli less as your master plan and more as your secret weapon, hidden until the moment you really need it. If Machiavelli were alive today, he wouldn't be advising kings. He'd be studying influencers, CEOs, and politicians who command millions with a single post or headline. The battlefield has changed, but the rules haven't. People are still driven by self-interest. Appearances still outweigh reality, and power still gravitates to those bold enough to take it. But here's the twist. In 2025, manipulation is easier and harder than ever. Easier because technology lets anyone craft a polished mask online. Harder because lies can be exposed in seconds and public opinion can flip overnight. It's a Machiavellian paradox. The tools of power are sharper, but so are the risks. That's why his warnings matter now more than ever. Whether you're running a company, a campaign, or just your own life, ignoring these truths leaves you vulnerable to those who don't ignore them. The question isn't whether Machiavelli's rules still apply. The question is, are you sharp enough to see when they're being used on you? Here's the final warning. Don't swallow Machiavelli whole. His insights are razor blades, useful but dangerous if you grab them carelessly. Question everyone, including me, including him. When advice feels too true, test it. When someone seems too loyal, watch closely. The strongest armor isn't blind trust or constant fear, it's skepticism. So keep your eyes open, your mind sharp, and your boundaries firm. Don't reject the dark truths of human nature, but don't worship them either. Balance is the game. And hey, if this made you rethink things, drop your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more unsettling truths, because I really shouldn't be teaching you this. But here we are.